Hello everyone and welcome to I believe this is now game 6 in this series. We are going to have Dreamizer versus Messiah here on Entombed Valley. Messiah spawning as the blue Zerg on the top right hand side of the map, meanwhile Dreamizer spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map as the red Zerg. Now Zerg versus Zerg once again, one of those matchups that I've already introduced the Zerg versus Zerg matchup in game 5. Let's talk about something else. Now, one of the things that I am working on in terms of casting, and I often get questions on how do you get into casting and how do you get better. I don't know if I'm really, I'm not sure if I quite know how to tell how to get better. That is something I am currently working on as well, and will continue to do so. But one thing that I did hear was there's two parts of casting that kind of go hand in hand, kind of similar to StarCraft's micro and macro. There is accuracy and speed. Now, I will say that my speed is starting to get up there, but the problem has been my accuracy. So, what generally happens is you try to work on one and then the other starts to slip. So and generally a lot of the casters, or from what I've seen, work on speed, then work on accuracy, then work on speed and work on accuracy. You'll be like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but overall the casting experience should get better and better over time, as we now see a drone making its way across the map. Perhaps it is force north-south spawns, but not knowing exactly if it's going to be cross spawns or diagonal spawns. This is going to be full cross spawns here on Entombed Valley. And with that, there should be a lot of room to maneuver. The interesting note here is that the center area here has one Xel'Naga tower with brush, but this is a lot of room for Zerglings to do their dance. We now see Zerglings already making their way across the map. This is a very, very fast Zergling pool here, and that spawning pool has been done for quite some time for Zerglings to make their way out. My apologies for not catching that earlier, but now you already see the Zerglings funneling across the map here, as you now see a spine crawler that's trying to be built. Perhaps that spine crawler can be built off over here instead. If it is built somewhere else, it can still cause a lot of damage, be very, very annoying. There's the cancellation, and there's the rebuild, as the Zerglings are now going to try to come in. Drones are going to be forced to come off the mineral line, as there are just Zerglings against drones right now. The Zerglings dancing around. The drones going to have to focus down that spine crawler, as well as the spine crawler will get additional 2 hit points or 2 armor if it completes. That spine crawler already at 60 hit points. It is going to get recanceled and then perhaps rebuilt once more, as the drone looking to perhaps set it up somewhere. And no, it does get taken out. Perhaps if there was 2 or 3 drones to scout, it would have been enough, forcing those drones to not really be able to do enough micro and get off a decent surround enough, as Dreamizer now going to be slightly behind. He has Zerglings out on the field that are not really doing much of anything, and now also going to be delayed in getting his gas. You can see that Messiah has already started his metabolic boost. Meanwhile, we're going to be quite some time away until gas is done here, about another 40 seconds or so for Dreamizer before he can even consider starting his own speed. Creep tumor now being established on the ramp, making sure that the Zerglings are unable to get inside. Zerglings now going to try to test that ramp once more. There are a lot of Zerglings up on the high ground, though. Those Zerglings will be forced to back around, and oh no, this is a really, really bad position. Beautiful flank by Messiah on the ramp to make sure that those Zerglings never come back home. Now we'll see what's going to follow this up, as Spine Crawler is going to slowly make its way closer and closer to the ramp here. And both players may perhaps just try to set up a hatchery. No, instead, they are going to be going into a baneling nest by Messiah. Now, if Messiah had tried to go for a fast hatchery of 15 hatch, it would have been instantaneous death. And Dreamizer would have won just because of his build order. Messiah now very, very confident, looking to follow this all up with something else, as we are now going into a spawning pool. The spawning pool with the metabolic boost. Yeah, accuracy right there. Spawning pool already finishing up that metabolic boost, and now banelings will be able to be morphed halfway across the field. Zerglings now looking to run away. There are Zerglings in the center here, and now we'll see as they try to get up the ramp what's going to happen. There is a spine crawler on the ramp, as I mentioned earlier, and those Zerglings are not going to really be able to get up that ramp or really bust open this ramp, as the Zerglings going to try to claw their way through. The Queens have enough energy for transfusions on each other as well, so they're able to heal a good 125 hit points, and that would just be a pure sacrifice there, as Zerglings now trying to make their way up the ramp. It looks like they will be able to do exactly that, do a quick scout, spot the Baneling's nest, and now Dreamizer also going into a Roach Warren. Dreamizer, where is that Roach Warren? I don't quite spot it. Or, yeah, Dreamizer down over here. Okay. Red and blue switched locations on me from the last game. So Dreamizer down over here does have that Roach Warren. He is going to be able to fend off against any of those Zerglings, especially as Roaches can two-shot any Baneling. And even if the Baneling does get close enough, the Roach with a lot of hit points, 145 hit points, only takes 20 points of damage. And we'll see what's going to happen next, as there are now Zerglings down over here. No hatchery to cancel or destroy. And now the drone looking to perhaps set up a hatchery here. The one Zergling has been taken out, and now Roaches are trying to make their way down. The hatchery looks like it will be placed down in just a second, and Dreamizer finally catching up, as Dreamizer finally gets his hatchery. Meanwhile, Messiah already 3/4 of the way completed, as an Overlord now trying to do a bit of a suicide run to scout out his opponent. Hatchery nearing completion here. Messiah sitting at 41 over 42 food. Hatchery has been established, and now a bit more spine crawlers. It really feels like a lot of Zerg players are relying much more on their spine crawlers for, I guess, mobile static defense, since they are able to pick themselves up and move. And with that, and with having that static defense, they can hold off attacks fairly easily. Spine crawlers have a very high DPS. They do very well versus armored, and they also have very high armor value for the early portion of the game when Zerglings do the majority of the damage. The destructible rocks will fall here, and it looks like the third base can be established anytime soon. Banelings, drones, Banelings and drones still being trained up, as both sides are just trying to macro. You can see that there are Zerglings and Banelings off here. There is one Zergling here which will get easily taken out, and it's going to be a little bit of a timing to see when exactly the spine crawlers and the Zerglings will be duking it out once more. These rocks will be falling in just a second. One Zergling trying to make its way inside is not able to get inside over here. You can see double extractors being established by Dreamizer. We are going into tier 2 and missile upgrades by Dreamizer, so perhaps we can see Hydralisks and Infestors once more. I really like that combination, but if he does use Hydralisks and Infestors, he does need a lot more creep tumors. Zerglings moving forward across the map. A Spire is being established. Zerglings quickly getting taken down. And I'm starting to question what Dreamizer is doing, as he does have tier 2 completed, but he's not getting any tier 2 building. He is not starting a Hydralisk Den or an infestation pit, and this is all buying time for the Spire of Messiah. Messiah already sitting on 400 gas. He is setting up another hatchery here. He's mining off of 2 additional geysers here, so in about another 50 seconds, he should have somewhere around 1,000 gas, and 10 Mutalisks are very difficult to handle. Infestation pit now being built, but it's going to be some time before the pathogen glands are completed. And with the delay in the pathogen glands, one changeling has been dropped down, and that Zergling will just be sitting there for a little bit of time. The Zergling, I think, has, yes, rather slow movement speed. It does look like it, nicely done there. It does look like it has the wings of a metabolic boosted Ling, but not quite. We can see that there are Banelings off over here lying ready to go up and perhaps destroy some spine crawlers or something else. The Banelings are going to be trying to make their way up that ramp. Zergling's going to absorb some damage first. The Roaches are now trying to come in. Banelings dealing some damage to a spine crawler there, but is it going to be enough? The spine crawlers look like they're going to fall. No, yes, they do fall. Pretty much all of the spine crawlers have taken heavy hits, as now Messiah is in trouble. But Messiah is going to have that perfect counter of of Mutalisk in just a second, and this is the issue. If he had gotten perhaps a Hydralisk then, but no, Dreamizer now going to lose a couple drones here right as the Mutalisk do arrive to the party, and now perhaps can enough damage get dealt to the hatchery. The Roach is now attempting to walk away, not going to be able to do so. They should just be trying to focus down and finish off the hatchery, deal damage while they can. Meanwhile, there are Zerglings off here taking down more and more Zerglings and drones, but the Mutalisk is able to clean this up, and Messiah's timing was nearly perfect. Both players, Dreamizer and Messiah, getting up to tier 2 at about the same time, but Dreamizer not getting the infestation pit, not getting out the Hydralisk den, and now he is going to definitely pay for it. Spore crawlers are coming in. Here we go. There is one Spore Crawler down over here. Queen now trying to make its way over, does get off a transfusion to save 100 minerals, and in that there, and now the Spore Crawler trying to battle it up. One Queen in a bit of trouble. The Queen will get taken out, unable to transfuse anything. The 3 Spore Crawlers here, another Queen gonna get taken out as Messiah coming back with a nice counterattack. And there is no Spore Crawlers in the main. Alright, only one Spore Crawler in the main as opposed to 3. That Queen will get taken out very, very quickly. Spore Crawler does attack fairly well. And it also has that, what's it called? So Fungal Growth does land. Perhaps a second Fungal Growth will land as well. There we go. Messiah's, all of these units are going to be very low on hit points. Messiah has to be careful. Dreamizer, not quite sure why he left these infestors here to die. That was a really bad decision. Dreamizer needed to save those infestors, as we now see an engagement in the center portion of the map. Mutalisk still hiding out over here. Zerglings running back inside. There are no Spine Crawlers that I can spot. Mutalisk having a free run inside the base, and it's going to be a little bit of time before Dreamizer has enough Zerg macro to get back into the swing of things. These the infested Terrans are not going to find their target, but the Spore Crawlers are nearby once more, and more Overlords look like they will get destroyed as Banelings are going to get popped by Mutalisk. Infestor is looking to get off another Fungal Growth. Is it going to be able to hit it? Yes, it is able to hit 3 Mutalisk. Another Chain Fungal Growth trying to deal more damage. One more Mutalisk does go down. The infested Terrans do finally make their way over as Zerglings battling up against more and more Zerglings. Overseer is over here. I'm sitting on the front door, so Messiah can clean up some of these creep tumors. Hydralisks are a definite problem, but now Mutalisks are coming back in again. And are we going to get another fungal? Nope, no fungal between the 5 infested Terrans there. Instead, going to add a Queen. The infested Terrans, however, popping just at the right time. There are Spore Crawlers down here, 3 of them to be exact. And that is really what is saving this third base. Banelings perhaps gonna, oh, drone hit. Oh, what a horrible drone hit there. Dreamizer losing a lot of drones in transit, and now 15 workers killed versus 22, and Messiah getting a bit lucky with that hit. Fungal Growth on 3 Zerglings to make sure that, I guess, those infestors do not fall. If it saved the infestors, that would be worth it. And now Changelings making their way in. They are all going to get destroyed in just a matter of seconds as the Zerglings finish those units off here. Infestors, Zerglings, you can see some Spore Crawlers here. No players were able to really take up another base during that time. And Messiah, even though he did deal a lot of damage, doesn't have much of a lead. Only a 2 drone advantage right now, but he is looking to change that, getting up 8 more drones. Zerglings now coming around the far side. Perhaps will be able to run inside here and deal some damage. There are Zerglings now going to go ahead and try to intercept and reinforce. The Zerglings going to make a run for it, but no, the Roaches are there in time. No level 1 weapons upgrade. Meanwhile, level 2 already being researched by Dreamizer. So Dreamizer really trying to follow this up. Messiah takes a look inside the base here. Not many drones inside the main, as Zerglings and Banelings hiding off on the corner here. Overlord's hiding here, not quite sure why. And both players are currently unable to establish up a 4th, since both players will be able to destroy each other sometime soon. And you really don't want to try to expand when you have even-sized forces like this. Now, Messiah does have a Harvester advantage now, a slight Harvester advantage. He does also have a slight army advantage, but unless you look at the gas is actually much higher for Dreamizer. Spine Crawlers are ready to go. There is a Queen here. Baneling's gonna run straight inside the mineral line, taking down a Queen, but they all detonated on the same target. That was a bit of a mistake. Zerglings trying to fight down and take down spine crawlers, but the spine crawlers will eventually all just be destroyed as well. As you can see, one spine crawler off over here. These Zerglings will get taken down, and now it looks like there is a Burrowed infestor play. All right, Burrowed infestor play. We'll see what's going to be happening here. If the infestors can perhaps take down all of the drones, that would be a very, very heavy hit. Infested Terrans now just spawning all across inside this base here. And now the roaches, sorry, the infestors now need to make their way out. The infested Terrans dealing so much damage. And the timed life, this hatchery will fall. And Messiah going to lose his third base. And this is a huge, huge trade here. Brilliantly done. It's exactly what Dreamizer needed in order to get back into the swing, as we now see fungal growth hitting all of these infestors. Oh no, he stuck around far too long. He needed to get away, and now losing those infestors, not a good trade at all. Let's take a look at the losses. Dreamizer losing a lot more. Those infestors needed to stay alive, and he stuck around far too long. If he was able to keep those infestors, replenish energy, and then use that trick once more later on, Dreamizer would be in a dominant position, since he would have had and held his third base. That is the problem now, as Messiah has the larger army. 10, I believe that was 6 to 7 infestors, 14 food, 14 supply difference there, and they are casters, very expensive units at that. Roaches taking a little bit of damage, as we're going to see the Zerglings try to once again poke up the main ramp. Banelings are there to meet and greet and destroy. Meanwhile, Zerglings coming around the far side. Perhaps the roaches will get taken down. No, a quick fungal growth is going to finish off all of those units. Another fungal growth. The roaches should have perhaps backed off a little bit and not taken some damage at all. And we'll see how this will all be followed up. Messiah now going into Hive Tech. You can see all the main key tech buildings here. Hive Tech, very, very important. We'll see how all of this will move forward next, as the overlords of Dreamizer deciding to back off, wanting to make sure that they are not in any clear fights. Messiah going into 4 bases, currently sitting at 2. Dreamizer sitting at 3 bases, not going into a 4th yet. So that may be rather odd, as we are now also going into a Nidus network. So this Zerg matchup opened up very, very traditionally, but now starting to do a bit of change. Changelings will spot this hatchery down over here. Zerglings going to finish off those 2 Zerglings here, as the infestors looking to use that trick and utilize that trick once more. Each of those infested Terrans have each of those infestors have 8 infested Terrans. An Overseer, however, nearby is going to spot this, and the infestors are smartly moving away, spotting the Overseer, and we'll see what's going to happen. One Overseer also over here, so I believe the trick will not be successful again, as the Zerglings are now making a bit of a move. Zerglings now coming down. Are they going to spot those infestors? No, they are not going to spot the infestors. There is one Overseer here, and all the units are still once again backing off. The drone unable to build a hatchery just because of a Burrowed Zergling, and now Mutalisk are going after the infestors. Infested Terrans now coming in. There is a fungal growth, and now that one poor Mutalisk will get taken out, as the infested Terrans, why aren't they firing at that? Oh, wow, another mistake made by Dreamizer, unable to even get a free unit there. Overseer still flying around. We'll see what all of these units are going to do. They're going to go into the Nidus network, and Dreamizer does have one Overseer in the air here. He can drop a Nidus Canal here, and he can drop a Nidus Canal here, and that is going to be 2 very, very separate locations. If he drops 2 Nidus networks in 2 different locations, what's going to happen? As you can see now, the roaches and Hydras are now making their way over. Dreamizer didn't even utilize the Nidus network while he had a chance. He could have placed one down here, and forced the army to split, as they would be in 2 very separate locations. You can either lose your main, which would have had all of this, all of your tech, or lost your third, which had all of your drones. If you split your army, that would have been rather devastating as well. You can see a lot in the belly of this Nidus network, in this transport. And we'll see what's going to be happening next. The drone could just be attacking the Zergling as it's burrowed. Not quite sure why it's not doing that. There is the Overseer in the air here. And now Dreamizer looking to perhaps do another Nidus network play. Now, you never want to leave your units in a Nidus network unless you are actually planning to pop up a Nidus worm. The units come out one at a time, and that is just going to be really, really bad, sad news. We'll see what's going to be happening here. We can see that there is plenty of room for Nidus networks to be set up either here or even down here on the low ground. It will be spotted on the minimap. Hydralisks and roaches are here, and you can see that Dreamizer definitely has a much larger bank right now. Dreamizer moving forward with that Overseer now needs to back off. No movement speed upgrade on the Overseer, and that is a bit of a mistake. Overseer off here as well. We'll see whether or not he can get a Nidus network here, here, and here. If he's able to hit all three locations with the Nidus network, that would be the prime example, as the Nidus network is going to be coming into play. Yes, one Nidus network off over here. Messiah is not spotting this. Another Nidus network could come down over here, but in comes a massive force in the center. Overseer dropping some changelings, but the Nidus network is going to be out, and here we go. So attack in the main base. There are a lot of spine crawlers. Dreamizer taking a little bit of a play as the Zerglings now coming in and going to get some easy damage. Perhaps a fungal growth could be cast on all of these drones here. That is a lot of drones to destroy. And now in comes the front door. Infestors, roaches, Hydralisks now trying to barrel their way through, and both sides dealing a lot of damage to each other. You're going to see some Corruptors now in the air. Not quite sure what they're there for, as the Corruptors can't do anything, and now they're just going to get simply destroyed by the mass Hydralisks and infested Terrans. The Corruptors now need to back off, but both sides losing their bases rather quickly. You can see the amount of red and blue inside each other's bases. Messiah gonna lose this hatchery here, and now after losing this hatchery, there is no Overseer though in order to be spotted. More infested Terrans now spawning up. And are there any drones inside this Nidus network? That would be the key part. If you can actually get some drones inside the Nidus network, you can save your drones and continue this fight once more. Overseer should really be much more involved in this fight. There is a lot of burrowed units. Drones now making their way out. Zerglings trying to make their way over. More infested Terrans coming over as drones are able to escape. You can see that there are now more infestors coming back as well. Messiah going to come back, perhaps get off a lot of infested Terrans to take out the infestors themselves, as we see the infestation pit will be destroyed. Not enough infested Terrans to take down all of the key buildings here. The spawning pool at 29 hit points. It doesn't look like it will go down. The Spire does go down. Spawning pool, is it going to go down to 22 hit points still? It is still regenerating. Is it going to go down? Yes, it does. So the spawning pool has been destroyed. Dreamizer, however, doesn't have a hatchery anywhere on the map, as Broodlings now coming back. There is still one Nidus worm here, and that is technically a building. The drones could perhaps try to focus this down here. Roaches and infestors now coming back over once more. Zerglings now going to come around here, and both sides are going to lose a lot of key buildings. And what is this? Messiah is left alive with his one hive. This is not a good move at all. He needs to get down this hive. He needs to destroy the hive and at least know if his opponent is trying to reestablish. Messiah does have a stronger army right now. And I love this play, by Dreamizer. Dreamizer getting up extractors. Extractors are pretty much easy to build buildings that will not bleed to death. Corruptors now going after all of those overlords. If they had actually turned into broodlords, that would have been a different story, as fungal growth and broodlords deal massive damage to Hydralisks while staying outside of the range. Dreamizer now trying to run away with these infestors. Oh, there comes a fungal growth. Infested Terrans now coming in. More fungal growth coming off, and Dreamizer losing all of those units there rather quickly. Now, once again, trying to go in for another engagement. Messiah now going to come in from the back with more infested Terran. Infested Terrans spawning all over the place, and now blue much more prevalent on this map than red. Messiah losing his Nidus worm here, and there is the game. So Messiah leaving the game, perhaps very much hating himself for letting this game get away. The game did go back and forth. That there was some key drone hits, and I really think Dreamizer had an advantage for a while until a Baneling hit took out about 7 drones here. He was able to get back into it, utilizing infestors, taking out the third, but then he lost all of those infestors here instead. And by losing those infestors, things just didn't go well for him. He was behind in infestors in the next battle, and Messiah knew that. He utilized that opportunity, attacked at the front door, and was able to deal some damage. Also, Messiah was able to get up to 4 bases. Then also, Dreamizer didn't utilize that Nidus network nearly as well as I would have liked to see. If he was able to drop a Nidus Worm here, a Nidus Worm here, and a Nidus Worm here, there is no way that Messiah would have been able to stop all 3 Nidus Worms at the same time, and then any location that he actually tries to get his units to, he doesn't. Dreamizer doesn't actually have to. Dreamizer doesn't have to unload his units there. I do know that there was only 1 Nidus network on the field. Perhaps a second Nidus network would have been better in order to be able to do 2 at once. But I think dropping 1 off here and then starting another 1 off here later would have been helpful enough, as the units would have been here and then would have needed to travel at least here, and then the Overseer could have made its way back here once more to try to reestablish that worm. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.